Yeah. Oh my Lord.
All right, sir. And we are live. Welcome to Unique Perspectives Love Talk Radio. I'm your host, Charles Dixon, and I'm here with my great co host, Mr. Adam Ford. How are you, sir?
Good man. What's up, fam? How y'all doing today? Hope you guys are good.
Yeah,
Almost at the
yeah.
end of the week, man. Almost at the end of the week.
Hey, each from week to week, there's always crazy, crazy things happening in the world, but nonetheless,
Mm-hmm.
we are here, blessed to see another day. That's all we can ask for, right?
Right. No doubt, no doubt. I'm,
Yeah,
I'm always glad to see another day. I ain't gonna lie.
man.
When I
Yeah,
wake up in the morning time and I can see another day and I'm good and I'm not, paralyzed or sick or nothing like that. And man,
yes.
still got my right mind all day long,
Hey,
bro.
when you think of life today, and when you hear all these stories about people that are, dealing with it's a lot of mental health issues
Mm-hmm.
all over the place, and it's just like it's really, it's a trying time. So it's like if you got your mental faculties, that's a blessing in itself.
Oh, absolutely, dude.
So,
I'm so grateful for peace of mind. I don't know. I mean, the older I get, the more I appreciate peace of mind. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? I mean,
yeah,
to be able, I mean, yeah, you might be still having to deal with various circumstances and predicaments and situations, but in
yeah,
the midst of all that, I still got my peace.
yeah.
How many in here know they still got peace? I
Oh,
dare you to
oh
touch
my
your neighbor and say,
goodness.
I still got peace. I need to see it in the comments. I need to see it in the comments. I still got peace.
Oh my goodness, man! But listen, they may not have no. Unfortunately, after today's topic, they may not have no more peace.
You know what? You know what? You know what? We're gonna have to reverse the curse. We got to reverse the curse, bro.
Today's topic is listen. Today's topic is one of those topics that will likely challenge the peace of some. But you know what?
Oh Lord.
We're gonna. So listen. Today's topic is how long do we fake satisfaction before we hear the true reaction? Now, before I get into this,
Mm-hmm.
now as a disclaimer, we're speaking to the grown folks that are either in committed relationships that have this sort of activity, or by default, in always right, the married folk, right? The
Mm-hmm.
married folks have the right of passage whenever, however, wherever. That's them. Okay, that's
Yes.
that. Now, of course, then we do have the X Factor crew, but we're gonna leave that out. But nonetheless, okay. So, all right,
Lord.
let me get into this. How long do we fake satisfaction before we hear the true reaction? The
Mm.
highest stock in love today is satisfaction, for without it, there is no performance that produces action, the motor that moves love forward. Let's face it, everyone wants to experience the euphoric exchange of a great return on their investment. So, this is no different when it comes to the exchange of sexual intimacy.
Mm.
Sure, we want respect, love, trust, and a family, but how many of you can attest to the disconnect that occurs when a breakdown in intimacy between two is painfully apparent? Of
Mm.
course, there is certainly more to life than a satisfying sexual bond between two within a marriage or committed relationship. But in many cases, it's absolutely vital, the vital glue that holds together even the most weathered and battered of relationships. Now we're getting through it, Adam. I know. Now we lie about it. Yes, we do. We fake our way through it.
Mm.
We even express our dissatisfaction to everyone besides the one who needs to hear it most,
Mm.
all in the name of sparing the feelings of the ones we love. We hold on to broken relationships for the social and aesthetics and financial dependencies of them, when we know the core contents of them have long soured due to the uh, disdainful taste of a spoiled experience. Lastly, we cover up what we lack with a silent smile and go outside of our relationships to get our needs met elsewhere, when we freely choose to express authentic truth, where we freely choose to express our authentic truths while tossing around within the pillows and sheets of our denial.
Mm.
All right, man.
Did you say no more sheets? Never mind. Okay,
Yeah,
anyway.
no more sheets. No. Hey, listen. Let me say this. When I thought about this entire topic, the first thing that came to mind is, wow, like, what would the world be like if we never had comparisons?
Wow.
I think, you know, if I'm thinking back to my youth and I'm listening to the elders of the youth and the preachers, or even my mother. I mean, my father was kind of like, he was in the neutral zone, but my mother, she was pro, don't you do this and that until you get married, you know, all that. So in church, that's all we heard. Oh, man, don't do this, and you hold out for your wife, you know, all of those things. So when you're younger, it's going over your head. You're like, yeah, I heard y'all say it, okay, but you're not living in my skin. You're not out here in the streets. So we think of these things. But honestly, as a mature man, when I look back at life and I think about the relationships today, all of the chaos that we hear, all of the just stuff that's just not cool, right? When I think of all that stuff, I say to myself, what would it have been like if people approached marriage pure for one another? Like, in other words, just think about it. If you're fumbling around inexperienced together, right? The comments about what's not right, or what could be more, or what could be less or softer, they're felt more genuinely because you know it's coming from a solid place between you and that person.
Okay.
It's a total different thing when someone is nudging you to do a little something different. And in your mind, you're thinking, oh, that's what you and Kevin did. You know, I'm just making up or the lady said, listen, I'm not one of them hookers used to be with, you know, all that kind of stuff. So all those kind of suggestions turn into negative things because because you're thinking, my person wasn't an angel. My person wasn't totally a knight in shining armor. They do have a checkered such and such past. So your mind automatically visits all these things and people when you're thinking of things that potentially break down with your person.
Okay.
So having these comparisons, it's like if you have a comparison and if you have an addiction to those comparisons. So addiction means there's the comparison of, you know, there's always the person that can say, well, girl, you know, this is such and such is good. Or the man might say, she's great, but trust me, I have had much better. When you say that, now you're opening up the door to insecurity,
right?
All of those things. And so now you're raising a psychological bar that a person will spend the greater part of that marriage or relationship trying to leap over when you yourself already know they can't do it because you've already separated the situation. You've assessed what you have in them, and then you had said to yourself, yeah, this is this, and I'm just going to love them for this.
Right.
It's not that, right? And so because it's not that, you live throughout this relationship, and it's just kind of it kind of feels like a take it or leave it type of thing. We could have the love, we can put it off to Friday, we can not so much have it. You know what I'm saying? And so that begins the problems of masking your true reaction and pretending that you're in an okay place when inside you're miserable because what you feel you need as a man or a woman is not being completed.
Okay.
And from the intimacy perspective, right? We're just talking. I know that you and I had a talk backstage, which is going to take it deeper. But initially, talking about from the physical standpoint.
I got you.
Physical standpoint, people have certain perspectives of how they feel they should be, better words, broke off, right? Or not. And so if it's not happening, over time, it develops a frustration and it develops into a problem.
Okay.
All right.
So let me I want to take a stab at one of the things that you kind of brought up, and then I'll kind of go into my, I guess, perspective on this. And that is the fact that when we're dealing with comparison, and comparing people to who we used to be with, I know a lot of that plays into our memories, past experiences, in terms of what we've had with in past relationships.
Yes.
Here's part of the dilemma that you face with that, and I don't know, you might have been inferring this, but I want to make it kind of really clear, and that is the fact that often when we do these comparisons based off our previous relationship and experiences, we are not announcing that. We're not saying that to the other person, that I'm comparing you to who I used to have. And so often what happens is you have this comparison that's happening. Your present person is with you, but they have no idea that you are sitting there mentally comparing what you used to have to what you have now.
Correct.
And there is no way, like you've already said, there's no way that they can meet that bar, because number one, they don't know that they need to meet the bar, because you haven't said that they need to meet the bar. There is no communication in regards to what used to happen and what I used to do and how they used to do me. You haven't said a word about that, yet you're holding that person to a standard, to an experience that they have no idea about.
Yes.
None.
Yeah.
Zero. And I think often, if we're honest, those who are listening and a part of our group, if you're honest, there have been times when you've done this.
Yeah.
Where you have held the person that you have right now, and then you think back about the person that you did have, and then what that person did do to you, and then you look at what you have now, and you're like, yeah, no, okay, maybe it wasn't as good, maybe, yeah. But here's the thing, though. So the other person has no clue. Yeah. They have no idea that you are literally judging them based on what they're doing now compared to what you used to get. And here's the thing, here's the real problem with this. And I think I might have said this before, but I'm gonna say it again. We often have a tendency, we have the proclivity, okay, to romanticize what we did have.
Yeah.
But the reality is, we're not even in that relationship anymore for whatever reason. So if what you did have was good, then why are you not in that relationship anymore?
Yeah. Well, first of all, before I answer that, I want to send a cross seas shout out to my good friend Mr. Sohail Shakat from Pakistan.
Oh, cool.
He's been tuning in here lately. You know, he sends me some really deep prayers sometimes. Shout out to you, sir. He's always blessing us to go forward in our missions. Thank you for that, sir. All right. Okay. So to answer that question, when it comes to covenant marriage or furthering your relationship to exclusive and committed relationships, not every time that people enter into those spaces are they going into it saying, this is the greatest I've ever had. Right. I love it and I'm content, and this is why I'm going in there. People arrive at these places for different reasons. They come there for I have tried all of this and it didn't work. It was nothing but heartache. So I'm going to try this kind of woman or man. Okay. I've heard that people say that millions of times. Oh, this isn't what I'm necessarily used to, but I'm trying something different. What I really liked always disappointed me. So I'm gonna try this kind of person. Okay. So when you get this kind of person, you got somebody that's different from you aesthetically. Maybe they're not all tatted up, or the woman is not walking around here like she just got off the pole, you know, whatever that you're used to, right? So whatever you're used to, if the other person is the extreme opposite, now you're already making mental concessions, even before anything happens. You're already saying, this is not what I'm used to. So your mind is already saying, don't expect what you like. Expect what you need to settle with. Okay. You know what I'm saying? And so you go into the situation and here you come and you're going through the emotions, and the person is like, yeah, but in their mind, the separation is already there, because I strongly believe a huge part of satisfaction is visual. A huge part of it. Don't get me wrong. The act is what it is. Matter of fact, let me tell you a quick little story.
Oh, here we go.
Not about
Story
me.
time, everybody.
Not about me. Yeah. But anyway, so
Story time.
just last week, we in the barbershop. A guy comes in there, real charismatic guy. He kind of got everybody's attention because we were all just sitting down there looking at the sports. Then he just blurts out, "Man, let me tell y'all what happened to me." So he goes about saying he's not making it shy that he already has a woman, but he's had these other chicks that he's dealing with, right?
Oh,
so
wow.
he's saying, he said, I got a phone call from this guy. And when the guy, as soon as I picked up the phone, he said the guy began to recollect my address. And he said, at that point, I got nervous because he's like, wait. He said, I was getting ready to hang up, but when the guy said my address, it startled me because I'm thinking, who is this person? Who I don't know them, you know, how do I know if they're not outside my door or whatever?
Right.
When he talked to the guy, he says, the guy told him, hey, you know such and such? Talking about this female that he's been dealing with.
Okay.
And he said, yeah, I mean, he said, but then I got careful about how I was going to respond because again, I don't know where he is and what his intention is. Right. So he said, of course I've been intimate with her. Of course I've been doing all of this, that, and the other, but I'm still lost at how he got my information. And so the guy says, yeah, you know, he says, so yeah, man, he said, I'm calling you because this is my person. And I'm thinking I need to do something to you. That's what he said. Because you fooling with her, I saw this and this in her phone. And so in so many words, the girl tried to tell the guy when he had a conversation with him that the guy got the number some kind of other way out of her sister's phone. In other words, he made her cough it up. That's pretty much what happened. He found out about it and made her cough up the guy's information. So that's how the conversation started. Man, here's the crazy part. After the guy, he goes to this conversation, he said it sounded like the guy wanted to cry, although he sounded like a tough dude. But he said he sounded like he was kind of trembling because he knew the guy was intimate with her. So he was kind of asking for details. Did you and her do this? Did you and her do this? And he just told him, he said, all I said to her was, sir, I did what any man that was unaware of you would do. He was telling her, yeah, I did. Before knowing about you, of course. So getting off of that, he said, y'all know what's crazy? I've been trying to call her because I wanted to go one more time. And that's when I stopped and turned in the chair. And I said, wait a second. You telling me you don't know who this person is. You never seen them. They got your address. You're telling me that you want to go back into the den one more time?
No.
You know what the dude said? He said, man, the box was amazing. This is what he said.
Wow.
The box was amazing. And so again, I had to have more questions. I just had
of course.
I said to him, okay. I said, I need you just to answer, humor me for a minute.
Right.
I said, because what I am hearing you say, you're saying the box is amazing. You're you're making it singular. But I said, but you're really praising a collective of her acts, not just one act. There's a few things, 2 or 3 things she does that you like. So is it the experience itself with her collectively, or is it just this one thing? He said, I didn't think about it like that. He said, but now that you put it that way, I think everything she does just does it for me. Wow. And he said, so when I think of her, she's like the total pleaser. So I'm thinking of her in all of these ways. So I said, interesting. I said, so that's what you need to quantify it as you're describing what you're trying to get and what you like. It's not just this one area. You like the aura, her sexual aura, her spirit, the way she pours, whatever she pours, that demonic trance on you. That's what it is you like. Take a long story short. So the point I was making was, it was that serious to him, and he had a whole woman across town because he said, my girl, she live on the east side of Dallas, and she ain't playing around. She got a gun, she got this. He said all this stuff that the woman has, but yet and still, it's worth it to him because this thing is so great to go defy all these laws to go and get it. So my point is, that's an example when I say, that told me that there is usually something in us that's lacking, and it's deeper than sexual.
Yeah, it is.
It's an aggressive satisfaction that we need. When you need someone to be the extreme in a particular thing. There's something inwardly in you that's lacking aside from typical day-to-day satisfaction intimately. It's something else. And so we have to say to ourselves, what is that thing that I'm lacking that I have to express it in a hypersexual way? It's really an outward pouring of what you feel you need. And another thing I told him before he left, he said, man, it's Dr. Phil. I said, you need some Dr. Phil. But anyway, he said, said to me, I told him, I said, sometimes people are misaligned with their partners from a libido standpoint. Sometimes you could be a decent guy, she can be a decent woman, but if her libido is 2 and 3 times higher than yours, she's not going to be satisfied. You're not going to be satisfied. If you're used to something on a hypersexual scale, she can do all the twirls and tricks. She's pretty much going to be a 1 or 2 trick pony, and you done, and you ready to go out in the street. So that's why you have to assess those things and be honest before you start to call yourself diving in, because a lot of people some people will give you, let me say it in a kind way, some people will give you only what you pull out, knowing they have a lot more in their reserve, in their repertoire, but they're only going to give you what you pull out of them. If you don't pull much, you're not going to get much. If you pull much, you'll be like, what? Who are you? You know what I'm saying? But it just depends on what you pull. So my point is, but that's also the part that you have to call yourself being responsible for. If you're not totally being honest with what you really like. Like you say, the person can't read your mind.
They're not going to read your mind.
You know you need all of these things. It's better for us to have the conversation up front before we get into this, and then you walk away, Carol, it was, or the guy's like, yeah, this ain't enough. Before you get to that point, let's talk about it. And let's iron these things out honestly to say, so, okay, when it comes to this, what you expect, what you like, what's the end of the rope? Is there a ceiling? You know, what's the bottom? What is it? Tell me something so we can kind of get an idea as opposed to just guessing. You know what I'm saying?
So I must say this, and then I'm gonna move on to something else. So old dude isn't afraid for his life because his other girl across town on the east side had a gun.
But I mean, he felt like the way she was tucked off where she was, she didn't know what he was doing.
Oh Lord, have mercy.
The guy even asked him, "Have you been over to her house?" Because he lives there, and the guy was like, "Yeah, I've been over there." I was like, I said, "Well, you need a good talking to."
Yeah, you do.
He's a younger guy, but I was like, you better get your head right.
He about to lose his life.
It's not that deep, but I'm just like, man.
That's crazy, dude. So here's the thing, though. And you kind of pointed it out, and I want to kind of bring it out and expand upon it. And that's the fact that I believe that satisfaction is not one-dimensional.
Yeah.
If we really want to get down to the nitty-gritty of it. And I know we're talking about it in a sexual way and intimacy and what have you, but I really do believe that satisfaction is not just merely physical intercourse. It can't just be that. But here's the thing, though. So a lot of us have reduced it to just the physicality.
For sure.
We have reduced it to the point where it's just one-dimensional.
Yeah.
And as a result of that, we walk away unsatisfied. Absolutely. Because you're not getting the full experience like you should have. Like, I'm going to put it like this, like God intended it to be, within the parameters of marriage.
Yes.
Okay. And as a result of you reducing it to just a physical act, a mechanical function, you walk away disappointed. You walk away unsatisfied. You walk away going, I wasted my time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because you're only receiving one aspect, one dimension of the experience. And let's be honest, a lot of us who have gone through various different relationships, having had different experiences, we don't get the full thing like we should. We don't get it like we should because we're not looking at it like that. We're only looking at it through a lens that only has one facet.
Yeah.
But what you need to do is you need to broaden your understanding of what's happening,
Yeah.
so that you not only get a physical experience, but you're also getting a mental experience. You're
Yeah.
getting an emotional experience. You're
Satisfaction.
receiving satisfaction
Yeah.
on a level that is also spiritual.
Yes.
Okay, but again, because we've reduced it to such a base level that we're only seeing it on a physical dimension. We're only seeing it in one particular way. I'm gonna go even further than this. And I'm gonna press y'all. I'm gonna press y'all today. I'm gonna press you today.
All right.
We only, here's the thing. Here's the problem with the satisfaction in terms of receiving a full experience, because you don't see yourselves as more than just a physical being.
Mm. Mm.
If you only see yourself as lips, hips, and fingertips,
Yeah.
then that's all you give of yourself.
Yeah.
Y'all don't want to talk to me. Y'all don't want to talk to me. You're only giving what you believe that you have. You're only giving what you only believe that you can actually give. And you only think about yourself from a physical perspective.
Yeah.
But the reality is you are far more than what we see.
Yeah.
You've got a dimension to you that you have not even tapped into yet.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm going there today. I'm going there today. You're only giving a percentage of yourself because you have not even discovered the other part of you.
Yeah. Wow.
Come on, man. This is the reason why you walk away unsatisfied. This is the reason why you walk away disappointed. This is the reason why you walk away frustrated, because you're only giving that part of you, and they are only giving that part of you. That's the reality. But when you begin to open up your eyes and begin to understand that I am more than the sum of my parts, then you'll begin to realize there's more to this satisfaction, than just the physical side of it.
Yes. And here's another angle is we also got to look at it like this. Some people are laying in beds and their hearts and minds are in other beds.
Oh, come on.
You're laying in the bed, right? And so I'm saying that to say a lot of people, the reason I believe a lot of people, now I'm going to get into the obvious usual suspects of dissatisfaction. Okay. It's not totally psychological. Some of it is physical, right? I'll get to that. But reality wise, some of us approach relationships still holding on subliminally to old scenarios that we liked. Someone who they may not have been the best partner, but they understood my body, or vice versa. And so you keep an affinity for this person subconsciously in your spirit, whether you know it or not, it's there, right? And so I always say a surrendered what's the word? A surrendered life yields a beautiful sex life, only because the more you reconcile your mind, body, and spirit into one, you're giving the person all of you. The problem is we're exchanging with people who are only giving us 1/4.
That's right.
Of who they are. We're exchanging with people, and they lay down, but they're not giving you who they are. They're letting you have rite of passage of them physically in the moment. But you're not getting the real them. And the real them is the stuff that sticks to you like the oatmeal. When somebody gives you the real them, it's impactful and you remember it. And when you not only do you remember it, but you look to nurture it time in and time again. It's the thing that you don't want to, you try to cherish it because you don't want to lose that thing, quote unquote, thing that we both have. And so that's why I always say, if you don't have anything, and I'm going to say this as like a child that's gotten whipped on the altar. I'll just be honest. Unless you are prepared to nurture intimacy daily, you shouldn't do it.
Wow.
Because I'm telling you, intimacy requires, like, authentic, satisfactory intimacy requires an authentic connection that can only be given when it is mind, body, and spirit of you, mind, body, and spirit of me, committed into you, and we are only committed to making sure one another is good.
Yeah.
But if we're not giving of that, it takes a lot to keep an emotional connection in place. It's a lot. And so intimacy it's just an umbrella of that. It's just like, listen, you got to have all of that together. And in order to do that, that's just with one person. Forget about having side people and all this. You drive yourself ludicrous.
Right.
But just one person alone, you got to be connected on another level to really have an experience to be like, woo. I'm not talking about no physical thing that somebody who got the right kind of hips or the dude that's carrying the right package can handle.
Right.
He or she going to give that experience to everybody else.
Wow.
Nothing significant about you.
Yeah.
But if you really want something special, you really got to say, I can dedicate the time and the spirit needed to sow into this woman or man so that we can have what we need. If you don't, you shouldn't even be having the sex.
Right. Yeah. I've never been a person to be able to cut off a piece of myself and give it to somebody else. I mean, how do you do that? How do you cut off? Because my thing is this: if I'm going to pursue this, then I'm going to pursue it with all that I have.
Yeah,
I'm going to give all that I have.
Yeah,
I'm not. I don't know how to hold back in terms of trying to save something or try to reserve something or try to put something in a deposit box somewhere else so nobody else can get to it. That to me is a foreign thing. And so if you're only giving pieces of yourself to the person that you believe is for you, then 9 times out of 10, they're only giving pieces of themselves to you.
Yeah.
It's a crazy thing to think about because both of you want to be in a fulfilling, satisfying relationship, but you're only willing to give a piece of your love. Come on, guy.
We live in a day now. The reason we're even having this conversation, because we live in a time where people are more concerned with the curb appeal of their marriages and relationships. That means, oh, we look good over here. We got a nice ride. We live in such and such gated community. Our sex life is good. Everybody wants to check the boxes off, right? Mm-hmm. So if something isn't right in that area, nowadays, there used to be a time where people somewhat suffered in silence and, talk to the pastor, or if they were church going, or maybe a trusted person they talked about their problems to. Nowadays, you see indirect grievances on social media, people telling their girlfriends, dudes telling their guys where something is not working at home, because what we don't realize is what's really happening. People aren't just sharing their business with you just to be sharing it. They're sharing it with you so that you can understand the shift if it needs to come. And that shift will look like another person being introduced into the circle. So them letting you know what's not working is them saying, please have empathy with me that I'm over here not being taken care of. I don't know how long I can take this, but who knows, sooner or later I'm going to do me. And that sometimes always starts off, it's the down payment. The business we're telling is the down payment on the overlay for the underplay that we got in mind, which is the walk away. Because I don't care what nobody say. When it comes to fulfillment of intimacy, people will only go without for so long. And when I say go without, I mean go without their version of fulfillment. I'm not saying it's a healthy fulfillment, but in their mind, their version of it, they're not going to go for so long. And before you know it, you're going to hear the most daunting news ever. And you'll hear someone come and confess, yeah, I've been kind of doing this. And you're like, really? But you got a great wife. You got a great husband. I know, but you don't understand. I need what I need, and they great in every other aspect. I love how they are with the kids. I love how they do this, and they make good money and all of this. But this part is missing, and it is a hole right here. that needs to be filled. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I get it. And here's the thing that came to my mind when you started talking about that, and that is the fact that I here we go again. So many of us don't know what we're looking for.
Yeah.
We don't know what satisfies us. Okay. First of all, let me just break it on down.
Comparisons.
Yeah,
they know that.
Right. They got the comparisons, but they don't even know the reason why they're doing what they're doing. They don't even really realize that, again, okay, you are a person that is you are more than just a body.
Yes.
Okay. You have a mind, you have an intellect, you've got emotions. Okay. You are more than just what we see on the outside. But often, again, we sell ourselves short because we believe this is all that we have to offer. And so that's all we offer in the relationship. And many of us go into the relationship, stay in the relationship, and we're unsatisfied. We're frustrated because all we have given is that piece of us, that part of us that we believe is the thing that the other person wants.
Yeah.
The reality is that you don't even know what you really want because you done tried all this other crazy stuff with all these other people, thinking that these are going to be the things that satisfy you.
Yeah.
And so you're looking for somebody to do something that you haven't been able to do yourself to satisfy you. I don't mean to go to Sunday on this, but the reality is you are looking for somebody to satisfy you, something that you haven't been able to satisfy yourself.
Yeah.
And you don't even know what you're looking for. That's the thing that's crazy about it.
Yeah.
You're trying all this stuff. You're doing all this stuff. You're giving pieces of yourself everywhere you can possibly be, all in an effort to find satisfaction, all in an effort to find fulfillment, not realizing that this ain't it.
Yeah,
this is not it. And so man, you
listen. Let's get into some real time situations. All right,
okay, come on.
Women will express dissatisfaction first.
Okay.
Men act out first and ask for forgiveness second. That's the difference. See, women will express to the man what's not happening, what she needs more of. Could you do a little bit of this? And he might be, I got you. All right, then. And after a while of it not being right, that's when those seeds of her being like, well, I might do me, whatever that may come up. The man, we don't do a lot of the reason we act out first is not because we're so cruel. It's because we have to wrestle with the thought of, do I tell her I don't like this? Do I tell her this is just not cutting it for me? Because we know when we are holding a 12-inch sword in our hand, the minute right behind our back, the minute we tell her something like that, potentially, if the surgery don't go right, it's like brain surgery. Either you get it right or somebody gonna be a vegetable. So that's how we are looking at it. Either we're gonna get what we're gonna tell you right, and you may understand us. But see how one Trish says communication. Yeah. Yes, true. But let's just be honest though. If we really, really gave you what we did not like, you'll be, well, you know what? You go down the street. You understand? I mean, it's especially if it's something that the person. One thing I've learned about people when you're airing grievances, it's not that people don't think they can fix it. Or maybe if it's something that's not so physical, but is more action related, because some complaints is not necessarily a physical thing. Some of it is, I need a little more action of this. Some don't want to do the work, and they know that they're lazy, and they don't want to put in the work to make the changes that you're asking for. Now, there are some cases. Let's just go ahead and get to the meat of it. I'll pick on the men first, ladies, and I'll get to y'all. With men, you have, when it comes to dissatisfaction, some men can't help how the Lord blessed them or didn't, or lack thereof. That's just the bottom line. What a man shows up with is what he got. Now, don't get me wrong. They got all these tricks in the bag. People getting pumps, shots, fake things, injections, or BB. Look, now they got BBDs. Forget BBLs.
Oh, God. I can't.
All these different things, right? Aside from those things, in your normal makeup, what you show up with is what you show up with. Now, the woman may not tell you. Women ain't going to tell you whether or not it's satisfactory, even visually, but they'll go along to get along, and they'll try to make the best out of it.
Okay.
Now, you got the ED issue with men. So that's the thing. Some men can't help. They got the problems with that. That's an issue.
Yeah.
Then there is the issue. Let's just say the man is blessed. Then there is the issue of you don't know what to do because you're just hurting me. You don't know what to do with what you have.
Got it.
Okay. Then you have the man who handles me not gently. You don't handle me right. It just doesn't feel right. You're not passionate. You don't kiss me. All of these things, right? That men will come from. And listen, ladies, sometimes I'm just going to tell you the truth. Sometimes men don't perform as well as they could because they are depleted, because they've been performing. That's just the ugly truth. But anyway, all right. Now skip to the lady side. Women gonna say, well, what could be wrong with us? All right, let's go skip to the lady.
Not like that.
I'm just gonna throw some things out there, right? Just some things. I think when it comes to women, there's nothing more important in the world with whatever you have to offer. It's your presentation of it. The presentation of it is everything. If you don't present what you got correctly, it can make or break the experience. Like a shame would be the woman who could have it all, look like it all, but it just be the most clumsiest, awkward experience. And you're just like, oh, what is going on? So you got that, right? You got that situation. Then you have, sometimes there are moist issues. You know, sometimes things aren't necessarily agreeable. Anyway, all right. So then you have inexperience comes into play.
Oh Lord!
Some people want to perform certain jobs that they're not necessarily qualified for. You got inexperience in some scenario. I'm trying to be clean here. Here's another thing. God. I said this years ago. You're gonna remember this, Adam.
Oh God!
And now, all the children around the house, please close your ears. I mentioned to you before, there's a such thing that a lot of men favor from women intimately, and we name it after a dog, man's best friend. That's why we call it man's best friend. Okay, so we have that. You'll be surprised that a lot of people don't get that right. It's not like a dog. A lot of times it's like a donkey. So, and there's a difference in the way the donkey looks and the dog. So the point I'm making is a lot of this stuff is visual. And it's for men, it's so psychological because we're visual. We're looking at everything. So for us, it's not so much how it feels as it is the overall experience, like old boy was talking about in the barbershop. It's the overall collective experience from visual to feeling to afterwards. The whole thing is a package. Okay. So that we want those things to be, good. Like y'all want y'all thing. Then there's hygiene. Hygiene. Let's talk about hygiene.
Oh God.
Hygiene is if nothing else, hygiene is paramount. You don't want to walk in the room and feel like you're in the carryout. But anyway, so hygiene is that. That's a very important. Men and women. And women. It don't hurt you to take a shower. Men and women. Beforehand. Okay, that's that. But again, I say you got to cut the monkey's head off. When you're going into these things, never be unsure with your person. If you are feeling unsure about something you're doing, it's probably because you are a little off and unsure. So you got to say, is this okay? If the woman got to be honest. Don't be like, yes, and then your mind, girl, what you heard, but get off of me. Don't be saying that. If it's not okay, Don't say it's okay.
Right.
Vice versa, ladies, if you asking the man something and you want to think you doing this, that, and the other, and trust me, we are typically dead giveaways. You don't see, we're gonna look up in the sky, his head, we doing all these things. If we're into it, you're gonna be able to tell to a degree. If a man is into it, you're gonna be able to tell. Women, you guys are a little more masterful. You'll just do the little things, y'all, because y'all know those little ad libs will end the show for the man, and that's it. And then the man, he thinking he did something, and you sitting there like on your phone, like bad experience. Talk to you about it tomorrow. And the man, he thinking, yeah, I handled my business, and he didn't do nothing. So truth and honesty between one another. Honesty. Yeah. Don't go along. The worst thing you can do is go along to get along. It doesn't work out. If you don't like it, if the person is not doing something that you like, talk about it, because you know in your mind, it's just like one of the hardest things. I told you this, Adam, before the show. One of the hardest things to do is to go into a really good restaurant where they serving the good food and you're sitting with the person that's also a good cook at home. The food could be great, but that person's gonna be like, I mean, it's all right, but I had better, because that's that comparison thing again. So that's why it's just like, look, I mean, if something, understand that who you are with today, this moment, is not those people back there.
Right.
People back there are gone doing them. The lady that you like this, she's not your woman. She's over there. The man that used to do all of these tricks, he's gone. Erase them out of your psyche. Yeah. That's the fairest thing you can do for your partner is erase that historic database of pleasure. You got to erase it. If you don't erase it, it's going to haunt you. Heck, even through your marriage, it'll haunt you. Because guess what? The minute you'll know that it's still alive, the minute it is still alive, it's like, it's amazing how you can have a good run, Bruce. You can be thinking you doing something great, and you and your person is in a mix. But that one day, Bruce, you wake up and person's like, come on, baby. And Bruce like, I can't, I need a minute. Hold on. Something is going on here. The guy, you sitting up there struggling because something ain't connecting.
Right.
All it takes is a couple of those. Now it's like, John would have never did this. Oh my God. That's it. If that one little seed gets planted, it's a wrap. And now you have become from being it's like we love you when you're good, but we'll get you when you're short. We'll get you quick. We'll love you when you're good, but the minute you come short, and I had to figure out why that was. And because when you're good, we both are good. Nobody's saying nothing. But when you are short, that is a potential indictment against me. And I know ain't nothing wrong with me. You know what I'm saying? So now we have a problem. Because if you're not responding to me, what is it? So why aren't you responding to me? Why isn't your body responding to me? I'm who I am. I'm the person you married. Don't you like this, that, and the other? All of those things come up to the forefront. And it's just like, oh, wait, I'm just having a personal moment. Has nothing to do with you. It's something mentally kind of throwing me off. It's not you. Right. And so you got to say these affirming things to make sure all you all are on the same page. That's all. Go ahead. I don't talk too much.
I mean, we might as well go ahead and close out the show because you don't kind of like covered it all. I mean, what else?
Man, I'm just saying, it's just like we just got to be honest, man. It's like, I just think if we get nothing out of this, I know that we don't like, as men, we don't like to dance around in the intimacy conversations because we know that this is risking our peace. Okay. If we talk about this too much, it's going to become a daily. So, you said you didn't like that. Could you explain to me what is it though? Because I'm having a hard time sleeping. Wait a minute, because I don't know what you said this, and then you're not going to ever hear the last of it. So we just suck it up and be quiet about it. Right? But that's not the thing to do. We should talk about it. We should have those conversations where we can be like, listen, I know we do this, that, and the other, but I want you to know this right here is like, I kind of wish you kind of do a little more of this or stop that. Okay. Stop this particular thing and let that be that. So,
Yeah. So I'm going to say this real quick and then I'm going to move because I have a couple of points I want to make real quick.
Okay.
I think the first thing is that, I think we might have said this before and it bears repeating again. And that is the fact that intimacy is not just sexuality. It's not intimacy, and I think a lot of us have always we have equated sexuality with intimacy, but the reality is that intimacy is not just sexuality. It's a part of it, it's an aspect of it, but it's not the totality of it. Real intimacy has to do with allowing yourself to be open and vulnerable enough to allow the other person to see you as you really are. Faults, imperfections, deficiencies, and then along with that, I will add that in them seeing you for who you really are, there is an acceptance of who you really are. That's intimacy. That when I see you as you really are, with all of your issues and problems, that I accept you for who you really are. That's, ladies and gentlemen, is where you're going to find real satisfaction and real fulfillment. And the sexuality of it, that's just the cherry on top. That is the culmination, if you will. That's the fulfillment of all that we have done and worked on in terms of our relationship. Here's the thing I want us to understand when it comes to this issue. And Charles, you make some really good points. It's good to have this conversation. We need to have more conversations like this so that people don't feel so awkward and cringy about talking about these type of things. I believe one of the things that we can do to encourage, bolster, fortify our bond and our connection with the person that we're with is to learn to study them. What I mean by that is, when I'm with you, I learn you. I'm listening to you. I am paying attention to you. Understand, it's not all about me trying to get mine. Okay. A lot of us, brothers, I'm gonna come at you real quick. A lot of us, when we're like this, when we're in that position, okay, we are just about trying to get us satisfied and fulfilled. Okay. As a result, often the woman is not satisfied because we've done what we've wanted to do. Okay. But here's the thing that I want to encourage us to do. And that is be patient enough to remain in the moment to learn what they like. Be patient in a moment to learn what they don't like. Listen and be attentive to the cues that are there. This also goes for the women, that when you're with your man, pay attention to his cues. Pay attention to what he's doing or what he's not doing. Okay. Don't be afraid in that moment, brothers and sisters, husbands and wives, to listen to each other and watch this, talk to each other. And I know sometimes we may have an avoidance to this because we don't want to necessarily deal with this. But this again is an aspect of real, true intimacy. Because I'm telling you how I feel in this moment right now. I'm not allowing my mind to wander off. I'm not thinking about something else. I'm not distracted by anything else. I'm in the moment. And as I'm in the moment, I'm focusing on you. Here's the question that I asked Charles earlier today, and I want to pose this question to everybody else. Have you ever thought about the fact that the person that you're with, do they have the capacity to satisfy you? Do they actually have the capacity to satisfy you? Because I believe that a lot of us who are in relationships are with people who do not have the capacity to satisfy us.
And we haven't assessed it.
Here's the other side of the question. And you know I'm coming at you. I'm coming at you right here.
All right.
Do you have the capacity to satisfy them?
Both sides.
Both sides. Because I don't believe it's just their responsibility to satisfy me. It's not just my wife's responsibility to satisfy me. Hear me real good. Okay. But it's also my responsibility to be satisfied. Okay. And so the reality is that when I'm satisfied, then I can focus on satisfying her.
Right. Yes.
And she can focus satisfying me because she's satisfied.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And so this thing has to be a reciprocal exchange between the both of us, that we are working to satisfy one another. It's a reciprocal exchange. It's an equivalent exchange between the both of us.
Well,
I'm not just trying to get satisfied, but I'm trying to satisfy.
Demetra brought up a good point. I was getting ready to walk into what she just said. The problem is, and another reason we're having this conversation, because you made a solid point about it definitely transcending just physical alone.
Absolutely.
But the problem and the reason we're having this talk is because it's impossible to have true intimacy with two broken individuals.
Oh my God, yes.
And the problem is we are showing up to relationships, we're showing up to marriages in pieces.
Yes.
So this is why we are putting so much emphasis on satisfaction. You know why? Because satisfaction is a direct affirming to us in our flesh. Okay. It makes us feel validated when other areas in our lives are just trashed, right? And so if someone is saying, "Oh, baby, you did a good job," and that, it's just like, yeah, all right, you know, you feeling some kind of way. But many of us, I mean, what you are saying is the ideal scenario. Yeah. But realistically, people are out here broken. They are still wore out from 3 marriages ago, 2 relationships ago. He don't want to trust. She don't want to trust. I don't want to be alone. So let's bond intimately and see what happens. And so that's what's happening. We're out here doing this. But, and again, I say this to the women because I see a lot of the women when we talk about the intimacy and we got to have the emotional bond. But let me tell you, I have heard from my own ears. This is why I employ women to be honest. I heard them in the salons. I heard them tell me on the phone, talk about how important that physical portion is.
Okay.
You know, I mean, they sit up here, it sounds good to be like, yes, that's right, read me stories and say you love me. No. You show up to that bedroom half cocked, you're gonna have some problems. Yeah, you can be intimately crying on the bed on their lap and tell them you love them. No, if that ain't right, we're gonna have some problems. And so I think we gotta be honest that yes, we want all of the other stuff to come with it, but in order to have that, you yourself have to be whole as well as your person. Right. If you're coming in here all broken up in issues and problems, it's going to be reflected in the intimate experience. True. How you show up to that bed is reflective of how you feel inwardly, because you can only give out what you have. Come on, you don't have it. I can't give you a beautiful experience past something that I remember in my brain, physical. I'm supposed to do this, and I think they should do this long enough, and she should have a reaction. I should have a reaction, and we done. It's more than that, but that's what we do because we are taught that if I need to do the bare minimum and a little bit of this to keep her or him going, and I'm good. But no, I think the more if we work on those issues that we have, the problems that we have, the insecurities, which is a big part of it. Work on those insecurities, and when I think once we see ourselves mended and healed, you'll see a better intimate experience. But until then, just expect the pieces. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So real quick, and I think we were talking about this earlier before the show started, and that was the fact that again, a lot of us are walking around like buckets with holes in them. We walk into our relationships with like a bucket with a hole in it, and we're expecting the other person in the relationship to fill us. Here's the thing: they do to an extent, but whatever they put in the bucket because it has a hole in it comes right back out again. Comes right back out again. Unsatisfied, completely, and you walk around unsatisfied because you're empty because what you got poured in flowed right on out. It got poured out because you have a hole in your bucket. We got emotional holes in our buckets. We got mental holes in our bucket. We got spiritual. God knows we got spiritual holes in our bucket. Yeah, we got physical holes in our bucket. And we're looking. Here's the thing. Again, we are looking for somebody else
to fill us up with whatever it is that they're going to fill us up with. But here's the thing, because we got so many holes in it, everything that's poured into us flows out of us. So that person is never fulfilled because they haven't seen to repairing their bucket. They have not fixed their bucket.
Yeah.
So whatever relationship, look, you take you everywhere you go.
Yeah.
You take you everywhere you go. So regardless of what relationship you find yourself in, you're in it. And you're in it with a bucket that is full of holes.
Yeah.
That's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. Before you step foot into another relationship, before you step foot into another, whatever you want to call it, you need to get your bucket fixed. This is the reason why you're not satisfied.
Repaired. You're repaired.
You need to get your bucket fixed, or just throw that bucket out and get a new one. How about that?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So let's tend to ourselves. Let's tend to ourselves, okay? So that when the next relationship comes, we don't walk into it with a holy bucket.
And let me say something. Trish made a good point. She said put God first, but I don't want to leave it there.
Right. Okay.
Because we hear this in church.
Yeah.
Put God first. But that only works for two surrendered people. You're not surrendering God. You putting God first is just something that sounds good in church. Go put God first. That ain't going. God is not in your bedroom. You got to do the work. So you and your person got to be surrendered. That's how you put God first. Okay. If you're not submitting to him, he's not relinquishing, reciprocating something to you. So that's the whole point, that you got to look at it like that if you're talking about from that perspective. I'm not picking on you, Trish. This is a good point.
No, but that's a good point.
Because we say spiritual things all the time, and that's how we get lost. Yeah. Because they sound good and they smooth us over, but it's not fixing nothing if we're not putting in the real spiritual work to do it.
So I gotta go here again. I gotta go here. This gonna be it right here. This gonna be it, y'all. Yeah. So the reality is yes, we absolutely have to put God first. The Bible says to seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these other things shall be added unto you. But the reality is that we have a tendency to put things on God and we leave it right there.
Correct.
We don't do nothing else with it.
Correct.
We leave it right there and nothing happens. Nothing changes. It stays the same.
Yeah.
God needs you to become responsible for you. Ooh, we don't like that. We don't like being responsible. We need to become responsible for ourselves. And listen, if we're going to bring God into this, listen to what he says for us to do.
Right.
And then obey. We don't like obey either. Lord have mercy today. God help me. We don't like to obey. We want to do what we want to do. We feel as though we know better than anybody else. But the reality is we don't know better, because if we did know better, we would not be in the situation that we're in right now. So hear me real good. Yes, put God first. Put him first, but then do what he tells you to do. How about that?
Because he's going to tell you something to do.
He's going to tell you something if you wait there for a minute. Right. Touch your neighbor and say, he's going to tell you something.
All right. Well, listen, y'all, we appreciate you guys tuning in today. This is a fiery topic. We talked about how long do we fake satisfaction before we hear the true reaction. Let's stop the faking. Stop faking it. If you don't like it, don't do it. Have the conversation. And try to fix it. But don't keep on doing it and reheating the same old oatmeal if you know you don't like its taste. Have a talk about it, because it's not going to work out. You understand? This is how, listen, when we don't tell and be honest, this is what gives birth to the side man and the side woman. If we're honest, they don't live. They only live because we're not honest. So they're figments of our dishonesty. All right. Now on tonight, we will definitely see you guys next week, next Thursday, 4:30 Central Standard Time PM. Same channel, same time. We will certainly come back with something, hopefully, that you guys can chew on with us as usual. Mr. Ford, you good?
I'm good, man. This was good. This was awesome, man.
Really good.
Yeah.
I was a little afraid to do it, but I'm, glad it worked out.
I mean, you put it out there, bro. So
you'd be kind of afraid. You'd be like, "Wow, what is you talking about now?"
Well, let's say
that for the other side. All right, okay, all right, all right, y'all. We out.
Look better.
Yeah, Joe.
Look
Nice
better.
little vibe. Nice little
Look
vibe.
better.
All right. Now,
Look better. Hey.
help the people, Mr. Ford, really quickly. All right. You've
Oh,
been
Lord.
doing a phenomenal job today, by the way. So listen,
Oh, thank you.
we gotta, again, like you said earlier, we have to be truthful. And listen, we are who we are, and we are in the positions that we're already in. You got folks that are already married, folks that are already in relationships, and what they're dealing with and what they have is what they have to work with.
Yeah.
Now, you can still be honest in the midst of that. It doesn't have to continue, right? You can still stop and have that conversation and say, listen, I know we've been doing this, but I want to let you know this one aspect, and I hope you don't penalize me for it. Go from there, say what you got to say, and go from there. Another part of it is when you are in the act. I know. Demetria was talking about the intimacy and sex. Yes, we're not necessarily making them the same, but in your relating experience, put it that way, to your person, don't hold back. People are holding back what they know that they can give more of.
Right.
If you and I think we hold back because we're afraid that that level of vulnerability will someday punish us. We give it all. But you get a better version of your person when you give it all. It's a risk.
Yeah, it is a risk.
A better version of your person when you give it all, as opposed to holding back and giving out pieces.
Yeah.
So,
no, that's real. And I again, you have to be willing to put yourself out there, and take that step, hoping and believing that it will pay off in the end.
Yeah.
If there's nothing worth risking, then the reward is not worth anything.
Yeah, what's the point?
What is literally the point of you doing any of this?
Yeah.
And I think it's important again that we understand that we have to rehabilitate and recalibrate our understanding of what intimacy is.
Yeah.
I believe that will directly affect our levels of satisfaction on multiple dimensions in terms of who we are as people. And when we are able to really begin to realize that I'm more than just a physical body, but there's a spiritual side of me, there's an emotional side of me, there's an intellectual side of me, we'll begin to understand that when I give myself to somebody, I'm not just giving them my body.
Yeah.
I'm giving them all of
me.
All of me. And the reason why I'm giving them all of me is because I realize that they value me.
Yeah.
As a complete and total person.
Yes.
That is, ladies and gentlemen, that's satisfaction.
Yes. So in short, we need to work towards giving the other person the totally reconciled versions of ourselves.
True.
All of your complete beings. Don't give them a piece of you and the other 3 pieces are 3 marriages and relationships away.
Right.
Give them all of you, mind, body, and spirit. That's how you have the best experience. Anyway,
No doubt.
All right, sir. This was good. We shall tune in soon again. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
Yep. Peace.
All right.